All right, everyone. So today I wanted to talk about events in Raid Shadow Legends and which events are going to be worth doing and which events are not going to be doing. And there's a few questions that we want to ask ourselves when it comes to events in Raid Shadow Legends. And one of the most important ones is going to be, am I going to be doing this stuff outside of the event anyway? And the best example that I can give for this is going to be like a champion training event. Like this one right here, we have a whole bunch of stuff going on. Of course, those of you guys who've watched the last two videos, you guys know all about this. But one of the reasons why I ended up wanting to talk about this today is we have this Extreme Fusion Challenge stuff going on. We recently also had the Harvest Track, and whenever one of these fusion events comes out, the fusion event is just a compilation of a whole bunch of other little mini events all kind of bundled together, and some of these are going to be really good, some of them are going to be really bad though, and I kind of wanted to just go over the information about these events so you guys can kind of decide if it's going to be worth the effort or not in doing so. Now, going back to champion training, in my opinion, this is going to be one of the best events in the game. Whether it's for a part of a fusion or not, the reason is you're probably going to be leveling up and ranking up champions anyway. It's a really big part of the game. You're going to be spending a lot of time in the campaign, whether there are events going on or not. Not only are you going to be farming silver in the campaign for artifacts, but you're also going to be earning experience to level up your champions or experience to level up food so that you can end up ranking up your champions, and that's just a huge part of the game. So even if there's not a champion training event actually going on at the moment, there's a good chance that you are actually going to be in the campaign anyway. So what that means is that when a champion training event is going on, it just kind of gives you a reason to stick to the campaign and maybe save some of the other stuff like dungeons or Minotaur until after the event is over. And a lot of the times the rewards are just going to be stuff that you are going to normally end up getting anyway, because you would normally be farming champion food anyway. So you could just end up getting this stuff either way. You might end up having to make a little bit of a push for it if it's you know, like 25,000 points in 10 days. Maybe this is a little bit more effort than you might normally go for, but considering you're probably going to be doing this stuff anyway, it's probably going to end up being worth it. So essentially, a lot of the times when it comes to champion training events, a lot of these rewards are just going to end up being freebies. You don't have to end up putting energy or resources into actually accomplishing something that you wouldn't normally end up doing. Now, I'm going to talk about an example of what I just said right now. This is the good example right here. Champion training, you're going to be doing this stuff anyway, whether there's an event or not going on. But an example of something that you might not normally do is like the actual tournaments for certain dungeons. Like we just had one Ice Golems tournament. Now, I personally like the Dragons tournament more because the gear sets are more endgame viable, but let's just use the Ice Golem tournament as an example. Now, this is something that normally I would not be doing anyway. Like, if an Ice Golem tournament was not going on, there's a very low chance that I would actually be in the Ice Golem spending my energy there. Unlike the champion training tournaments, where even if there was no champion training tournament, there is a pretty high chance that I would still be in the campaign farming food. That's not the case for the Ice Golem tournament, and what that means is now I have to figure out if the extra energy, effort, and resources putting into the Ice Golem tournament, something that I wouldn't normally do anyway, if the rewards are going to end up making it worthwhile. And that's where things can get a little bit complicated. I'll go ahead and show you guys some numbers just so you can kind of see, but you kind of have to calculate how much energy you have to spend working on this, what the rewards are going to get, and how much of the energy do you consider have going to waste, because this isn't something that you wouldn't normally do anyway, and is that wasted energy or effort going to be worth the rewards? And a lot of the times in these tournaments, the rewards are just not quite there yet. They're getting close, but they're not at the point where the effort in order to actually finish off, say, one of these Ice Golem tournaments, the amount of energy that you need to get 2,500 points is pretty high. A lot of the times it's not going to end up being worth the rewards. Unless you normally like to farm Ice Golem anyway, which is a whole different story. For a lot of people who like to spend their energy elsewhere, the rewards usually are not quite at that point yet, but they are getting very close. So that's just a general guideline for events. Now I wanted to actually go over some specifics as well, but something that is going to make this a little bit easier is when it comes to taking the rewards, you're going to want to, if you want to make your life a little bit easier, kind of determining whether an event is going to be worth it, you're going to want to kind of convert everything into one value if possible, because as you can see here, we have a whole bunch of stuff, everything, ancient shards, chickens, tomes, we've got a lot of stuff here, and it can kind of be difficult to determine what each item is going to be worth. So if you want to convert everything to, let's just say, gems, just to make it easier, you can kind of just go by some rough guidelines here just to get one single number of all the rewards that you're going to end up getting from an event. So some of these are going to be a little bit different for different people, but some of them are going to be pretty much the same for everyone. Like energy, 130 energy is going to be one refill at level 60, and a refill is pretty much always going to cost 40 gems, unless they plan on changing it, which I don't think they will. 130 energy equals one refill equals 40 gems. Ancient shards are going to be worth about 80 gems because, of course, what you can do is you can end up going to the gem store and purchase big shard packs, which give you 11 ancient shards for 900 gems. So when you end up converting that, you're going to be looking at approximately 80 gems each. Void shards, about 240 gems. Sacred shards, I think that's actually incorrect. It should be a bit higher, closer to 1,000 gems. Sacred shards definitely going to be one of the best rewards that you can end up getting from events. We don't really have that many events that have sacred shards because of how valuable they are. Double experience boosts, approximately 100 gems per day. Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. Now, if you go to the actual store, you'll see that you can buy them. I believe the 1-day boosts are 140 gems, and then the 3-day boosts are 280 gems. So essentially, when you buy a 3-day boost, you get one of those days for free because you're only paying for 2 days. So, maybe that number is a little bit different for you. But again, these are just approximate, so you can get a baseline value of what the rewards are going to be from an event. Legendary skill books, about 250 gems. Epic skill books, about 100 gems. Chickens are going to depend a little bit depending on how you value experience, but 4-star chickens around 50 or so gems each. 5-star chickens around 250 or so gems each. And then silver is going to be approximately 500,000 silver to 50 gems. Now, once again, these values are all approximates, and depending on how you value certain things, they might be a bit different. But what this does is it allows you to take all the rewards from an event, crunch it all down into a single number to kind of make it easier for you to determine whether it's going to be worth going for the rewards or whether it's not going to be worth going for the rewards. Now let's get into some of these specific events and my evaluation of whether I think they are good or not. And here is the list that I have right here. So champion training event, like I said, probably going to be one of the best events in Raid Shadow Legends. And the reason is simple, you're probably going to be doing that stuff anyway. So even if a champion training event were not going on, you're probably going to be farming the campaign anyway. So a lot of the rewards are just going to end up getting as an added bonus anyway. So definitely going to be a good one. The only thing is, like for the big ones, you might have to work a little bit extra in order to push to get the very large number of points in a short period of time. But it's still something you're going to be doing anyway. So a lot of the times, champion training events are going to be some of the best events in the game. Dungeon Divers is also another good one for a very similar reason. Now, even though it is technically a Dungeon Divers event, you would think that it's specifically for dungeons. That's not the case. You can actually end up getting points for the Dungeon Divers event in the campaign. So even the artifacts that you get from Brimstone Path when you are campaign farming are still going to count towards the Dungeon Divers. In fact, this might even be the most efficient way to end up completing these events, because you're going to be getting silver to level up your artifacts, you're going to be ranking up your food for champions, and you're going to be accomplishing that Dungeon Divers event and getting the rewards from that. So very similar to the champion training event, you're probably going to be doing all this stuff anyway, so you might as well end up getting those extra points as an added bonus, get all those extra goodies, and it's just a really good event because a lot of the stuff you end up doing anyway, even outside of the event windows. Now, the artifact enhancement events, unfortunately, we haven't really seen these around too much, and I would normally put this at 100% good. It used to be great when they were around, because if you just saved up your silver for an artifact enhancement event, you're going to be leveling up your artifacts anyway. All it does is just have you save up your silver until these events come around, and then you end up getting the rewards for free, because you're going to level up your artifacts anyway. Whether you decide to do them outside of an event or not, they're still going to be leveled up. Might as well get the rewards while you can. The problem is we haven't had one of these events in forever. I don't really know why. I know the last one ended up crashing the server, but now it's getting to the point where I'm kind of wishing I upgraded my artifacts a while ago so that I could have that extra power on my champions instead of waiting around for this long. So if they don't end up having an artifact enhancement event soon, I'm probably just going to end up leveling up my artifacts outside of it, taking the loss because it's been way too long since we've seen one. So it's kind of downgraded it to a medium for me. Now, summon rushes are going to be either good or bad, and they are going to be good when they do a summon rush with a double rates event, because now this is going to be the best time in order to summon. You're always going to want to try to save your shards for a double rates event, like we have one going on for void shards right now. As you can see, the rates are boosted, 16% for epics, 1% for legendaries. Ancients are not boosted, so it's 8% for epics, 0.5% for legendaries. Definitely going to want to save your shards for that. And when we have a double rates event, if they also choose to run a summon event alongside it, that is fantastic because you're going to summon anyway. Might as well get the extra goodies alongside the double rates event. But when we have those summon rush events outside of double rates, that's when they are going to not be so great. An example is that recent one that we had that was 4,000 points for a summon rush. The reward was just one legendary skill tome. Definitely not worth it. Not only did it require way too many points, but also the other thing about it is all the shards that you have to summon during that summon rush, you could have ended up saving those for a double rates event and gotten double the chances to get epics and legendaries. So now you're losing efficiency on those shards, and the rewards that you get from the summon rush have to outweigh the efficiency that you lose by not using them during a double rates. And probably one legendary skill tome for 4,000 points worth of shards, which is 200 ancient shards or 8 sacred shards, something crazy like that, probably not going to be worth it. So depending on when the summon events are, they're either going to be good or bad. Arena Assault, they actually ended up changing these. So it used to be, well, so the problem with Arena Assault is for some reason they ended up making all the medals 1 point each. It used to be that the gold medals used to be 4 points. Now they're only 1. Silver medals, I think, used to be 2 or 3 points. Now they're also only 1. And bronze medals are still 1 point. So all the medals are 1 point each. The rewards are pretty meh. Sometimes they way overtune them to where you have to use way too many refills to get the rewards. Sometimes they're okay. Like recently, the Arena Assaults that have been a part of the fusions have not really been too bad. But a lot of the times, if you have to end up using arena refills to get like one epic skill book, which a lot of the Arena Assault rewards have just been one epic skill book, it's probably not going to end up being worth it. So definitely not going to be nearly as good as like the champion training events. But if you have the tokens, if you can get the rewards for free, it's definitely not terrible, but it's not the best. Then we have the champion training tournament. Now this is not the champion training event. And the big difference between the champion training tournament versus the event is the tournament is the one where, unfortunately, you have to go to the tavern to level up your champions. You still get points from ranking them up, but if you want to end up getting points for the tournament, you have to use brews. Very frustrating. Now, brews are not that difficult in order to get. If you fight the clan boss and just do your dailies, you're going to end up stockpiling a lot of these, so might as well save at least some of them for these champion training tournaments, but it is definitely frustrating to have to go through the tavern to do this. It's also expensive. Another thing is using brews. It ends up adding up to be a decent amount of silver, but the combination of it being frustrating, it's still a good event if you actually save up the brews for it. You can get some good rewards, but the annoyance of it is going to kind of bump it down from being as good of an event as the champion training event to maybe not quite as good. Then we have the dungeon tournaments. Now, like I said, these ones are going to really kind of depend. I feel like the rewards for these are not quite as good as they could be. I said medium bad. Now, an example would be like, for me, the dragon tournaments would be medium because I'm going to spend a decent amount of time farming dragon anyway, even outside of the tournament. So if there is a dragon tournament going on like there is right now, I've already actually maxed this out because of this reason. That's great. I'm going to end up getting all these rewards anyway. I spend a decent amount of time farming dragon anyway. I might as well get this stuff for free. You know, even though the rewards, they're still a little bit subpar for the amount of effort and points that you need in order to accomplish the events. You know, might as well get it. Now, for something like the Ice Golem or the Fire Knights tournament, the rewards and the amount of effort and energy that you have to put into it probably not going to end up being worth it. I don't normally end up farming Ice Golem. I don't normally end up doing Fire Knight. So now I have to spend thousands of energy in order to end up getting these kind of rewards. Not really going to end up being the best for the amount of effort that you have to put into it. So for the dungeons, it really depends. If it's one of the tournaments for a dungeon that you normally farm anyway, it's going to be a bit better. But if it's for a dungeon that you don't normally farm, it's not going to be quite as good. And finally, the Champion Chase is going to be pretty much exactly the same as the Summon Rush. It's just the tournament version of it. Fantastic if they run a Champion Chase alongside a double rates event, like we actually have right now for Void Shards. So we have a double rates event going on for Voids. We also have a Champion Chase tournament going on. That's great because they're going to want to summon your Void Shards anyway because there's a double rates event. So now pretty much any of the rewards from the Champion Chase tournament you're going to just get as an added bonus. Now if they run a Champion Chase tournament when there's no double rates event or no other summon events going on, it's not going to be a good one because you miss out on the efficiency of saving up those shards. And now the rewards from the actual Champion Chase have to be really, really good to make up for the efficiency that you lose by not saving them for a double rates event. So pretty much functions exactly the same way as the Summon Rush event. There might be a couple events that I'm missing out on here and there. I didn't talk about the Fusion because the Fusion, when you think about it, the Fusion is just the compilation of all these events, all these smaller events, right? So it's a kind of a combination of all of these events, and some of them are going to be good, but unfortunately when it comes to the Fusion, a lot of these events are going to be really bad, and the game does this on purpose. What it does is it does have some good events like the Champion training events, but then it also introduces some really, really big energy sink events that just require an insane amount of energy for the very little rewards that they give, and you have to do them all if you want to end up accomplishing this Fusion. That's the problem with it, is it's an all or nothing. You can't end up getting everything except one piece of the puzzle because then you still can't end up fusing Brachus the Shifter. So overall, you're going to have to decide whether it's worth it. I would say for most people, probably not. I still think that the Champion training event is a really good one. Definitely want to participate in that. Some of these other events also going to be really good. But when you throw in a lot of these tournaments and a lot of these rare champions that just take so much energy to farm, the rewards are very, very minimal. It's just a massive, massive energy sink. And overall, you know, it's hard to say exactly for everyone, but I would say for the majority of players, with the limited time window, probably not going to end up being worth it. So hopefully you guys got some information out of this video. I think I've been talking long enough, so I'm going to end up leaving it here. If you guys did enjoy this video and you want more videos like this in the future, consider subscribing to the channel. Really appreciate all the support, everyone. Thank you once again. And if you want to take a quick quarter of a second to toss a like, it really helps out a whole bunch. Thank you to everyone who does that. And there should be some more videos popping up on the screen right about now. So if you're interested in more videos, guides, tutorials, and all that stuff Raid Shadow Legends related, feel free to check them out. But if not, until next time, have a great day, everyone. And this is Salt of the Salty Guild, signing out.